And in some big breaking news, here is a statement made by National Conference President Farooq Abdullah backing stone pelters in the valley, where he says that they are fighting for the nation and suggests a US intervention to sort out the Kashmir issue. The former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister also is heard saying that it's not a fight between the National Conference and the PDP, but a fight against secular forces.
मैं मोदी साहब को इस स्टेज से कहना चाहता हूं, टूरिज्म हमारी जिंदगी है, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है, मगर वो जो पत्थर फेंकने वाला है उसको टूरिज्म से कोई मतलब नहीं है, ये समझ जाइए। उसको टूरिज्म से मतलब नहीं है, वो भूखे मरेगा मगर वो वतन के लिए वो पत्थर मार रहा है, ये समझने की जरूरत है। ये समझने की जरूरत है कि अगर वो अपनी जान दे रहा है तो वो टूरिज्म के लिए जान नहीं दे रहा है, वो टूरिज्म के लिए नहीं जान दे रहा, वो दे रहा है कि इस वतन का फैसला होना चाहिए जो यहां के लोगों को कबूल हो। मैं सारे हिंदुस्तान में तूफान लाऊंगा, मैं आपसे कहते तो ईमान से। मेरी पहली चीज होगी कि मैं सारी जमातों को इकट्ठे करके, यहां भी मेरा फर्ज है कि मैं यहां भी सब जमातों को इकट्ठा करके इस वतन का जो मुसीबत में जो है इसका फैसला किसी तरह से हम मिलके करेंगे, मिलके करेंगे। और ये भी करेंगे कि पाकिस्तान के साथ इनकी बातचीत शुरू होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि तब तक कोई फैसला नहीं होगा जब तक उस मुल्क के साथ भी फैसला किया जाएगा। हम कितने फैसले यहां करें उनका कोई असर नहीं रहेगा जब तक वो वतन भी साथ नहीं होगा। आपने सुना होगा अमेरिका चाहता है सालिस बनना हिंदुस्तान और पाकिस्तान के मामले में। ये बहुत जरूरी है आपके सामने लाना। आप ये जानते हैं कि हिंदुस्तान की हर वक्त ये एक रहा है कि नहीं साहब, हम तो पाकिस्तान के साथ बातचीत करके ही इसका हल निकालेंगे, हमें सालिस नहीं चाहिए, हमें तीसरी वो जो है तीसरी जमात की जरूरत नहीं है। हम भी इसके साथ थे, मैं नहीं कहूंगा कि हम नहीं थे, हम भी कहते थे अच्छा आप ही हिंदुस्तान पाकिस्तान बात कर ले और इस मामले को सुलझाएं। मगर बहुत साल हो गए, पानी बहुत बह गया, मगर कोई भी ऐसी आगे नहीं बढ़ी जिससे कि हिंदुस्तान और पाकिस्तान के मामले हल हो सके। इसलिए मैं आज इस स्टेज से एक बात कहना चाहता हूं, नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस ये जानती है कि हिंदुस्तान अगर इसमें कोशिश नहीं करता और इसको उस मंजिल तक नहीं पहुंचाता जहां हम लोगों की ये मुसीबत दूर हो, तो हम अमेरिका के इस जो ये सालिस बनना चाहता है, हम समझते हैं बहुत अच्छी बात है, उनको इसमें पहल करनी चाहिए और इस मामले को सुलझाने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए, इससे पहले कि न्यूक्लियर बॉम्ब वहां से यहां गिरे और हमारे न्यूक्लियर बॉम्ब वहां गिरे।
I'm going to go straight across first to Ravinder Raina of the BJP. Sir, did you hear what Mr. Farooq Abdullah had to say at a time when the government is trying its best to engage with the youth, trying to, give them job opportunities via the Indian Army? Here is the National Conference President exhorting and praising the work of the stone pelters. How do you respond?
First of all, this is a dirty political gimmick of the Dr. Farooq Abdullah, because he is contesting the by-election from Srinagar parliamentary constituency, where by-elections are going to held next week. And Dr. Farooq Abdullah once again defooling the people of Kashmir, defooling the youth of Kashmir on the issue of Kashmir issue. So I would like to say it was the same Dr. Farooq Abdullah becoming the Chief Minister in 1996, when there was a terrorist attack on the Jammu and Kashmir Civil Secretariat Assembly Hall in Srinagar. This was the same Dr. Farooq Abdullah who at that time said, give me a chance to be the Prime Minister of India for one day, for 1 hour. I will demolish Pakistan from the world map. And he calls the Pakistan as a terrorist nation.
Are you
And
accusing him of double standards with a statement that he has just made? And he not just stops at, glorifying these stone pelters, he even seeks US intervention. He wants the US to play the role of a troubleshooter between the affairs of India and Pakistan.
Correct, you are right. There's a leader like Dr. Farooq Abdullah, who remained the Union Minister in Government of India for a long, long time, who remained the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir for a long, long time. His father remained the Chief Minister of Jammu for a long, long time. His son, former Chief Minister Umar Abdullah Sahab, remained the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir. His son Umar Abdullah remained the Foreign External Affairs Minister in Vajpayee Sahab's government. His son Umar Abdullah went to Pakistan in bus with Atal Bihari Vajpayee. All sorts of peaceful major steps always taken by the government of India, but it was the Pakistan who patched up India every time. Vajpayee ji went to Pakistan on bus. Pakistani army raided in Kargil. There was Kargil. When our Prime Minister Vajpayee called Musharraf at Agra, Pakistani terrorists attacked Indian Parliament. When Modi ji went to Pakistan, Lahore, there was Pathankot, there was Uri, there was Nagota attack by the terrorists.
Farooq Abdullah is saying that these stone pelters, in fact, should be praised. These young boys are not fighting for tourism. They are fighting for the country. They are fighting for their mulk. They are fighting for the nation.
This is political dirty gimmicks of the Dr. Farooq Abdullah to get votes. He is again making irrelevant and unconstitutional statement. Stone pelters are the anti-national elements. These stone pelters are well paid by Pakistan. This is nothing but agitational terrorism in Kashmir is going on, which is well paid by Pakistan and some other agencies. And unfortunately, he is calling America and Trump to intervene, where he remained in past when he was the Chief Minister and Union Minister in Government of India, and he repeatedly castigated. He repeatedly alleged Pakistan for playing wrong roles. He always accused America for supplying weapons to Pakistan, and this is terrorizing in Kashmir.
Okay.
And today, when there are by-election and he is contesting votes from the Srinagar, he is once again befooling the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Very unfortunate. At least we, a person who remains for a long time at a constitutional post, should not utter such wrong and
all right, Mr. Ravindra Raina, thanks so much. Shuja ul Haq joins us now. So obviously, the BJP understandably slamming Farooq Abdullah for the statements that he has made. They're accusing him of making these statements to keep the political pot boiling ahead of the important by-elections. Shuja?
Well, that's right, Avantika. One can look at it from both sides. While there are people who are slamming Dr. Farooq Abdullah for, making such comments, saying that this has only been done keeping in view the by-elections that are scheduled to happen just about few days from now. There are others as well who are saying that he is taking a populist line. In fact, the line which he thinks that is suiting his core constituency back here in Kashmir Valley. You have to carefully hear what he is saying. He is basically trying to point towards what the Prime Minister said, in his speech when he was inaugurating that tunnel just, few days back in Jammu division. He was saying that people have to make difference between tourism and, stone pelting. So this comment was, aimed at him from that direction. It'll be very interesting to see how the government of India, decides to react to a statement like that, because officially the government of India is saying that they do not want any tripartite, involvement from any other country to the issue of Jammu and Kashmir. And now if there is someone like Farooq Abdullah who's saying that if the two countries cannot solve it, then it is welcome that a country like America is saying that they want to, interfere or, take these talks forward. So this is something that is very, very interesting, and it will be important to see how the government of India reacts to such a statement.
Stay with me. Executive Editor Gaurav Sawant is also with us. Gaurav, we've seen in the past politicians making statements to suit their own personal motives, but this is absolutely shocking, and this is coming at a time when India today showed the entire country via a sting operation the sinister plans of the stone pelters and how really they're on the payrolls of their masters across the border.
Oh, absolutely. This shocker from Farooq Abdullah is only keeping in mind elections where he is contesting. Now, one thing is very clear. Government of India just yesterday made it very clear. There is no room for any third-party intervention when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir. The United States has absolutely no role. As far as the United Nations is concerned, it's welcome to put pressure. Both the US and the UN are welcome to put pressure on Pakistan to crack down on terror. Two things need to be extremely clear, irrespective of political posturing. One, Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India, whether militarily or any other way. No country can wrest control of Jammu and Kashmir. Two, stone pelters will not be acceptable. Stone pelting cannot happen, and tourism at the same time, it's just not done. So basically, stone pelting needs to come to an end for things to move forward. The government is trying in terms of trying to recruit these stone pelters. As India Today was the first channel to bring out that story. Some of the stone pelters, they confessed they were pelting stones, but now they are trying to give that physical fitness examination, a written examination, and they will try and join the army. They've been misled, they're saying so themselves. So Farooq Abdullah in the government sings a different tune. Farooq Abdullah in the opposition sings altogether a different tune.
Stay with me. Hina Bhatt from the BJP Jammu and Kashmir is also with me on the phone line. And how do you respond to these kind of statements coming in from the National Conference President? This also exposes hypocrisy, doesn't it? Double standards there by the National Conference. The father says something else, the son says something else. Both say something very different whilst they're in the government and then when they're in the opposition.
I actually personally welcome whatever they are commenting right now, whatever statements are coming from the National Conference or Congress or the opposition leaders. Because I welcome them because this is right now, this is the election time. They are supposed to talk anything to gain their votes. So nothing.
No, why do you welcome a statement where he is exhorting stone pelters, where he's glorifying them? Do you welcome it?
So you have to understand it because this is the election time. He's free. He wants his vote, so he can talk anything. What even he doesn't believe or he doesn't mean. So whatever is happening right now, whatever the statements are coming out, they're coming because of the elections are there.
Ma'am, but he's not any junior politician. He's a seasoned politician. Yeah. He's been the chief minister of the state. What kind of message does it send out to the youth in particular?
That is the agony that right now youth of Jammu and Kashmir, they're ready to join army. They're ready to join police. And such statements from such a veteran politician in Kashmir is giving a wrong signal to the youth of Kashmir. This is the agony for Kashmir.
All right, Ms. Hina Bhatt, thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to just play out the entire, statement, the entire speech that was made by Mr. Farooq Abdullah. Let's just listen in to what he said.
मैं मोदी साहब को इस स्टेज से कहना चाहता हूँ, टूरिज्म हमारी जिंदगी है, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है, मगर वो जो पत्थर फेंकने वाला है उसको टूरिज्म से कोई मतलब नहीं है, ये समझ जाइए, उसको टूरिज्म से मतलब नहीं है, वो भूखे मरेगा मगर वो वतन के लिए वो पत्थर मार रहा है, ये समझने की जरूरत है।
Gaurav, the statement coming in from Farooq Abdullah, what kind of repercussions would it have? I understand by-elections are around the corner. It's a situation where the state has also been on the edge. But wouldn't it send a very wrong message to the youth who, the separatists keep claiming are ill-advised, they're young, they're misinformed, and here you have someone like this making statements like these?
That's the irony of this entire development. Now, even when terrorist Burhan Wani was killed, had political leaders, had the so-called intelligentsia and those who know the truth about Kashmir, had they spoken the truth that it was a terrorist who was killed in an anti-terrorist operation, things could have been different. But then, an entirely false narrative was circulated and amplified. Exactly the same thing is happening now. Farooq Abdullah is actually amplifying a false narrative about stone pelters fighting for their nation.
Yes.
You give them a job, They will work for Government of India. They will work for betterment. They will work for a better future.
Gaurav, if I may just interrupt you, just stay with me. We also have with us from the PDP, Suhail Bukhari, joining us. Mr. Bukhari, thanks so much for speaking to us on India Today. How do you respond to the comments, the statement made by the National Conference President?
Well, Avantika, if you're referring to the comment of Dr. Farooq Abdullah...
Yes, where he's glorifying stone pelters, sir.
Well, you know, as far as stone pelters go and the current situation goes, our party has had an unambiguous, thought that we've had issues of engagement vis-a-vis youngsters, particularly in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and we are committed to ensure that our own boys...
Do you condemn what Mr. Abdullah said, Mr. Bukhari?
Well, I do not really know the exact verbatim details of what Farooq Abdullah has said, but what I can tell you is the stance of our party chief, Ms. Mehbooba Mufti, and the very political philosophy that guides our own, engagement is that the Kashmiri youngsters ought to be engaged to ensure that they are not exploited by the elements inimical to peace, and we would ensure that our own boys contribute to the nation building rather than being used or exploited by anyone else. There are issues of grievances.
But don't you fear, sir, that the youth will be exploited if they get to hear, statements being made from seasoned, from respected politicians like Mr. Farooq Abdullah?
Well, we have to ensure one thing, that the violence at any point cannot be glorified, irrespective of which form it is in. We'll have to ensure that we are able to push through a narrative where we communicate and engage our youngsters particularly and communicate to them that violence is absolutely no way forward. It's not going to achieve anything. We've had issues earlier. It has not yielded anything except for giving miseries and coffins to our own families. So we'll ensure that, they are brought out of that mentality and they are given a political engagement as an alternative, which would definitely yield results. Because we have seen this happen earlier, and we are hopeful that it will happen in days to come as well.
Mr. Farooq Abdullah also speaks of US intervention in India-Pakistan affairs. Your comments?
Well, we've always maintained that the issue of Jammu and Kashmir within India and Pakistan is a bilateral issue. That we know that there has been something called a Simla agreement. Even internally speaking, the Indira Sheikh Accord, which was signed by the Indira Gandhi and the representatives of Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah from Jammu and Kashmir. So all these are ample evidences to underline time and again that it is an issue which is internal to this to the state of India internally, and also the external dimension is between India and Pakistan. There is no scope of an intervention from say a state like America, because what also needs to be underlined is that their interventions haven't given good results anywhere in the world.
Okay.
Look at the interventions they've done earlier, whether it be Afghanistan, Iraq, Middle East, Libya, wherever.
Okay.
They've only spelled disaster.
All
We are
right.
sure that our political leadership is mature enough, and we would be able to figure out a way within our own ranks.
All right, Mr. Suhail Bukhari, thank you so much for speaking to us on the broadcast. Shuja ul Haq is also with us. Shuja, time and again we have heard politicians in the state speaking of engagement with the youth. We have in fact even heard Omar Abdullah calling for a general amnesty, calling for, an hour to forgive and forget what the youth have done in the past, to give them a second chance. Mr. Bukhari also speaking of, various ways to engage with the youth. What are those various ways? Why is it that despite all these efforts, these so-called efforts by the various governments, we are still seeing young boys taking to the streets, resorting to stone pelting and attacking security personnel? Obviously, there's something being missed out here.
Well, absolutely, Avantika, and that's the question that continuously is posed at all the parties who are in the government and otherwise as well. For a lot of people who know Kashmir, it is one of the factors of the situation reaching to this level is the lack of effective outreach towards the people who are protesting. Now, even now, what we are seeing is that since that Burhan Wani encounter, there has been a lot of unrest that has unfolded on the ground, and now it is taken to a situation where we are seeing boys coming out and pelting stones even at dangerous locations like encounter sites. A lot of people, while stressing on this fact, suggest that it is the failure of governments both at the center and the state and the political leadership to engage with these people, so that it could not have reached to a point where there is military versus civilians at places like encounter sites. So while these political parties are posturing at places in Kashmir, like what Dr. Farooq Abdullah is doing now, there are questions raised at them that when they are in power, they ensure that none of it happens on the ground. They ensure that no engagement takes place. And while they are outside the the realms of power and in the opposition, they keep on talking about these issues which are close. They seem to be close to their constituencies, but at the end of the day, their honesty is something that is questioned by most people.
Absolutely, and very briefly, very interesting to hear from the PDP spokesperson, Mr. Sohail Bukhari, not outrightly condemning what Mr. Farooq Abdullah had to say with regards to the stone pelters.
That's exactly what I was pointing out. Yes. These political parties, when they come into power, they have their compulsions. Like for example, PDP. PDP is partnering with a party like BJP, which has a very strong viewpoint when it comes to Kashmir. At the same time, they have to understand that their core constituency lies in Kashmir. Okay. So they would gauge their words. They would not condemn it. At the same time, also would go ahead and say that they want to do something about it.
Right. Shuja and Gaurav, thank you both for joining us. With that, we're heading into a short break. Up next, we will tell you about the RK Nagar by-polls.